the new governor, Mike Kehoe, who I just read something the other day that he's going to unveil his plan to get rid of the income tax here very soon. But now we're all kind of working together on some of these issues. We just saw it last year with getting rid of capital gains tax, dealing with crime and public safety. So I do think that, Donald Trump has put his flag in the sand, so to speak, saying, look, I don't care who's coming after me, whether it's J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio. One of my favorites is Ron DeSantis. He's an OG when it comes to fighting the swamp. He was one of the creators of the House Freedom Caucus when he was in Congress. But whoever it's going to be, there is a new era in the Republican Party, and we're seeing it in the state of Missouri thanks to Donald Trump, and it's prioritizing making America great again and making Missouri, in our case, making Missouri safer, more affordable, and great again as well.
That sounds terrific. Before we talk about some of your agenda items for the new session, I was just enchanted by the fact, and keep in mind, I don't live in Missouri, everybody knows that you are from Defiance, Missouri. I love that.
Yeah.
Could you talk about Defiance, Missouri, and how it got its name? And is that where you were born and bred?
No, I was actually born someplace that a lot of people around the world know. And I know this because, all the traveling that I do, people find out where I'm from. They go, oh, I know where that is. And that's Ferguson, Missouri, which went up in flames not too many years ago with the hands up, don't shoot, the Ferguson riots, all the lies that the media, that was like the birth of fake news media, is lighting a fire behind the lie.
Yes,
that even Eric Holder admitted. Yeah, Eric Holder even admits in his report, that was kind of made up. But the news media, let's just move past all of the crap that they spread and all the damage that they inflicted by spreading that lie. But that's where I grew up. First member of my family to go to college, and when I got out of college with my now wife, we decided no, we're gonna go out into St. Charles County. And eventually, we always had our eyes set on this very historic area in St. Charles County. It's where Daniel Boone had the Judgment Tree when it was a non-incorporated area within the United States. And he kind of escaped all the different tribes and the fur trading stuff that he was doing. He became a so to speak, governor of this area, and was kind of judge, jury, and executioner using this Judgment Tree. Everybody can look it up. The spot is still there where all the different trials and stuff took place. He's got a huge village out here, the Daniel Boone Village. This is I just found this out recently, the most historic wine country in America, not Napa Valley. This predates Napa Valley. When all of the different foreigners came here and planted their flags, whether it was from France or Germany, Ireland, Scotland, they used the hills out here in Augusta and Defiance. But the way Defiance got its name is it basically was defiant. When all of the state was, kind of coordinating and figure out where the cities were going to be and what part of the county, they said, we're just going to be unincorporated. And they've been that way ever since. They've been kind of self-governing. They don't have a mayor. They don't have any streets department, and everybody just kind of takes care of their own. And one of the coolest things that we do during 4th of July or Independence Day, going into that entire month, or any of the celebrations, we'll put up flags, and the community goes out there and puts up flags on all the different telephone poles. Very historic town, and a lot of the buildings are still being used as they were back in the 1800s.
Boy, it's a far cry from Ferguson, Missouri, which was used for political fodder. As I hear you talk, I think about how defiance is really what our founders were about. Defiance in favor of individual freedom, and defiance for constitutional conservatives who don't want the government in our business and in our lives. I love that. I think that's so great. Defiance, Missouri. I'll have to make a visit there, and then maybe stop in on Ken and Vic at some point.
Yeah, really. And
there's a lot of spots that we could do a live shoot. I know I know Tim and Chris have done it. Several. I don't know if Vic and Ken have done it yet, but I know a good friend of the family here at the News Talk family, Rick Pogue, him and Mark Sutherland, a guy who was born and raised in Scotland and then came over from England They've got a distillery out there, a couple of restaurants. It is a great place. Would love to have you.
Now, Karen, we've never done a remote from there, Karen, but I can tell you that the Hideout has the Thunder Stealer drink, which is named after the Thunder Stealer. So,
you're the Thunder Stealer. Well, in this particular case, in these next 3 hours, I don't really mind if you're a Thunder Stealer, Ken. You can steal my thunder anytime you want.
Thanks, Karen. I appreciate it.
So, Nick, I'm excited. We are going to be talking about, you got to do the year-end stuff, looking back, but you also want to look forward. So in terms of the legislature, give us a sneak preview of what's going on there.
I didn't know this until colleagues pointed it out, but I've got the most bills that are filed in the Missouri legislature right now. I think we're getting close to 60 bills. Now, a lot of these bills are addition by subtraction, getting rid of certain things. I know one of the bills that I have, it's lower down on the priority list because I know it's going to be a long shot here in the state of Missouri. We've got these, and you guys probably have them as well, these homeowners associations that are tiny little fiefdoms that want to get involved in all of your business. I mean, it's gotten so bad that, we've seen in our news where somebody wanted to grow a certain type of grass and they're getting sued, or they've got sunflowers in their yard and they're being sued. Or one of my constituents had a flagpole. It was an old cedar tree, and he said, "Hey, I'm just going to make that a flagpole." And the HOA and the city came in and said, "No, you can't do that." So it's going to be phasing out of HOAs. But looking at what we said earlier, it's, kind of defiance and what our founders intended, getting government off your back. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're taxed enough already. And the income tax is something that I've been trying to get rid of. Whether it's that, I've got another bill that would go to the voters that would get rid of personal property tax. I can't believe that we're still being taxed on the property after we've bought it. Every single year, we're still paying rent to the king. So I think when it comes to tax reform, that is a huge pillar of not only myself, but the Missouri Freedom Caucus, and it should be the Missouri Republican Party as well. And school choice. School choice is going to be so vitally important when it comes to preserving our next greatest generation, our kids. And a lot of the people who pulled their kids out of the public schools, or it's not for them for whatever reason, they're still paying for a school that they're not using. So I think the money should follow the kid. The hard-earned money that the parents make should follow their kid to whatever educational institution suits them best. But we're going to go in depth with a lot of these things: public safety bills, juvenile reform. There's a lot of catch and release here going on in the state of Missouri. We're going to cover a lot of that this Sunday on Stand and Fight between 6 and 8 p.m. I'm not going to want to miss it. And I'm going to be buckled in for this show because I'm excited to see you and Ken making people forget about the very great Vic Porcelli.
I hope he's not listening. He's going to be all upset.
I'm going to get a text.
You know what I love?
Yeah, he'll get a text. Don't worry, Karen.
He'll get attacked?
A text.
That too, but I'll get a text message.
Oh, he'll get a text.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Toby? I wanted to just mention how we all know, when we've watched and tracked legislators like yourself who've really tried to restore constitutional principles like we were talking about before and restore individual freedom, that when you attack government education, you're not attacking education, you're attacking their rice bowl.
Yeah.
And so that's what I hope people will remember. It's exactly why USAID, the very first thing that got intact in Doge, wasn't at all about altruism for other countries. It was a slush fund. It was money being paid off to politicians to make sure they did the right thing and reward them for doing the right thing, the thing they wanted. We've gotten a glimpse of that in the Trump administration. Of course, we're looking for the next year for some accountability in that. But I just applaud you.
Karen, I'll go even further.
Clear.
Look at the fraud in Minnesota. Look at the fraud that's being discussed in Ohio. That's not just in Somalian daycare facilities. It's anything that the government is giving a handout to.
Yeah.
We need to start turning the rocks over and looking, is this really being used for what we intended it as taxpayers to be used for? My prediction, 2026, is the era where fraud will die.
From your mouth to God's ears. What a pleasure to talk to you. Nick Schroer, good. Have a wonderful show on Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. I hope everybody will watch. Listen, excuse me. It's audio.
And both.
And thanks for being with us. It's video too?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, it's a podcast. Okay, good. Well,
it's the whole damn shebang. Yeah, you all have a blessed
radio,
week.
so I don't
have a blessed 3 hours.
Hey, thanks a lot, Nick.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year, Nick. Take care. Well, we're out of the box.
There we go, Karen.
With Ken Williams, and you're listening to 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. We'll be back after this.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Now, my mama died shortly before I left for Iraq in 2005. And when we went through things, we found 19 loaded handguns.
The Vic Porcelli Show. NewstalkSTL.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the Newstalk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you want me to choose some, or what do you want me to do?
No, we're live right now on the air.
Oh, I didn't hear anything. I was like, whoa. All right. Okay. Good to have you back. Yes, we have a segment. Now, we're hearing so much about Minnesota And it is not just in Minnesota, but did you happen to see that clip on Twitter that went viral that had a Somali telling us that we're working for him? Did you happen to see that?
Oh yeah, I did hear that. I saw that one and a bunch of others.
Yeah, exactly. Now go to work, you little slave, and pay your taxes so that I can sit home and do whatever I want. And what I wonder about, because this inspires so much anger, it should inspire righteous outrage, really, for that, because that's our tax dollars. But do you think, let me ask you this, Ken, do you think that it will come to light that there were a mass of Democrats not being incompetent, not just not doing their job, but happy and encouraging this graft, this theft, this corruption to occur?
Do I think that it will come to fruition?
Do you think that the news is going to start covering who was actually behind greasing the wheels for this level of corruption?
Yeah.
I mean, here's what I'm saying. If you just blame the Somalis themselves, you're not getting to it.
No, I think that's a big part of it. I think that's a really big part of it, because you've got a group of people who were transplanted into a country that they have no familiarity with. They're here and they're in mass. They've been put 80,000 plus in one area, so they don't really have a chance to assimilate. They're not going to. And I'll be honest with you, Karen, and I was going to talk about this tomorrow, but today I believe that Barack Obama had some other intentions when he put all those people in one place in the middle of a state, in the middle of a city, and not giving them a chance to assimilate. 80,000 people together, he could have separated them throughout the country, but I don't know, maybe he thought it was best to do that. I'm not sure what the goal was there, but putting those people together, they didn't have a chance to assimilate. And now they're I think maybe even being used to a degree, like you just said, for fraud.
Well, absolutely 100% it was deliberate. I know I was a broken record for 4 years during the Otto Penn administration, in which I said that almost every time they attributed to incompetence, which thank God they were as incompetent as they were, you're talking about deliberate sabotage of our system. Sending Somalians to Minnesota is one thing. Sending 80,000 of them to Minnesota with a corrupt governor who got, maybe, I'm speculating, paid off with a VP pick, because who thinks Kamala said, "Oh, I really want Tim Walz to be my running mate"?
Why is that? I wonder.
Paying attention.
Yeah, why was that?
It's political payola. That's what it is. But when you have a voting bloc of 80,000 people who all vote the way you tell them, and then you pay them off with taxpayer money that buys you yachts and Porsches, then that's kind of how the Obama-style politics that came to Washington in 2009 was done. And look how long it's taken us, 15 years, to even begin to unwrap that.
Well,
the millions, yeah.
No, I was just going to say, Karen, think about what happened, though, how this transpired. It originally started back in 2009. You had Barack Obama taking all of these people and putting them in one place and saying, okay, now you're going to be Americans. He's either really dumb or he had a plan, and neither of which are correct. Okay.
And so did Soros.
Yeah.
Soros visited the White House numerous times, telling him just how he could undermine this country with unfettered and very targeted illegal immigration.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you've got these people. They're very unfamiliar. The countries couldn't be more different. So they have no idea what they're doing. So you have people like maybe allegedly Tim Walz, for example, or Ilhan Omar, and of course George Soros every day of the week, who are coming in and saying, "Ooh, we have an opportunity here." And listen to Tim Walz, Karen, to this clip. Tim Walz, he sounds like he's very disheveled trying to explain himself.
I think what the president did was elevated. I do believe, and I will fully own this, we should have been keeping Minnesotans more up to speed on what was happening. We should have been, I think, on a better cadence as you see things that were happening in 2022, as the tools that were given to the administration would get there. So again, after the fact, there was a lot of folks talk about this. I have 7 years of proving this. I just fixed these things. And should we have fixed MNLARS before it got there? Certainly. Certainly we shouldn't have gone through 10 years of trying to get a licensing system. But once we got there, once we figured it out, we fixed it. And I think that's true.
He fixed what? What did he fix? Did you notice he kept shifting around? He had no idea really what he was talking about there.
Did he say, Ken, did he say elevated?
Yeah.
Trump elevated? What did Trump, is that the proper word? But what is he trying to say? Trump made it worse? What?
See, this is what I'm saying is his whole conversation here was so mixed and combobulated with different ideas that I think he was trying to find something to say while he was talking, and it just made it worse. But he was saying, I take full responsibility of everything that's happening right now, but they're at fault, and I'm going to make sure that they pay. That's kind of what he's talking about there.
Yeah. And we didn't get a real load of him until the 2024 election, in which people were saying, this is the best you can do.
Yeah.
Now I do believe that this was a payoff for setting up little Somalia in Minnesota, which, like, what would his purpose being except to please bigger pocketed and bigger powerful Democrats in doing so?
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Stuff. It's ugly stuff.
They're setting people. They're setting people up now. I'm not going to say that the Somalis are innocent refugees. They're not. They shouldn't be here, in my opinion. This is all my opinion. And allegedly, they're as corrupt as the day is long. Okay, for what's happening, what they're finding out in Minnesota. The problem is, Karen, you've not only got Minnesota, but later on, just before Barack Obama left office, I'm talking within days of him leaving office, he just so conveniently dropped 60,000 people into Columbus, Ohio, and up in Washington State and in Missouri, actually. And so this was not I don't believe that this was an accident that Barack Obama made, dropping these people together into the United States. And I don't think it's right.
I do not either.
And I think we need to investigate that along with all the corruption that's happening right now.
Exactly. If you think back to the years of 2008 to 16, and the terms of Obama, people wondered, what the left was saying to cover up for him? It's too big of a job for one person. He can't do all this. And I don't know about you, Ken, but while I was watching all that, I was wondering, what was he at work doing behind the scenes when he wasn't doing the work for the people of the United States of America? And look how long it's taken us to figure out and to see the evidence of what he was really working on.
I think we'll be finding out.
Amazing to me.
Well, in history, I think we'll find out exactly what Barack Obama was up to. I just don't believe that he was everything that everybody was hoping, that all that hope and change, I don't believe was actually on his agenda. I think there was probably maybe 4th, 5th, or 6th on his agenda.
Well, the only hope and change that he was about, I mean, it didn't take a rocket scientist, frankly, to see his ideology.
Right.
It's just that they used the race issue to keep him so Teflon that nobody was allowed to criticize him. And it's quite a trick to claim the country is more racist than ever before after they've elected twice a black president. But they went about doing that very thing in the cultural Marxism that we lived with. Suddenly, racism was worse and look at the people who voted for Obama simply hoping that we could live in a post-racial conflict world. Now that we've, elected a black president, can we move on to merit? Can we move on to doing the work for the American people based on constitutional principles? No, Obama came to change everything. And I think that he's quite disappointed that he wasn't as successful as he expected to be, because I think they expected this to all be done and over.
And we're still dealing with it today, Karen. We're still dealing with it today with the ACA and with Somali now, and we're going to find other things as well.
I think that part of what 2026 and the rest of Trump's term is going to be about, and people who support him, is accountability, accountability, accountability.
There you go.
I think that's what he's about. We have to take a break. And when we get back, we'll have a great guest, Ken Abramowitz, joining us. And Ken is working behind the scenes to make this show happen. Thank you, Ken.
All right.
You're listening to News Talk STL. We'll be right back with our next guest.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Join us every day for conversations with a wide variety of guests as we keep you informed and up to speed on all the important news and headlines you need to know.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on NewstalkSTL.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
At Grasser Home Services, we're looking for happy plumbers to join our team. Plumbers who are polite, honest, and do the job right.
And love dogs. They must love dogs.
Plumbers who treat customers' homes with respect, care about the details, and show up on time.
Know a happy plumber who's great with dogs?
Have them call Grasser Home Services.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Make your holiday special with Anthony's Produce, serving our community for over 28 years. Order fresh fruit and vegetable trays for work parties, family gatherings, and celebrations. Send chocolate-covered strawberries or a stunning fruit bouquet to someone you love. Plus, get seasoned firewood for pickup or delivery to keep your home cozy all winter long. Open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Order online at anthonysproduce.com or call 636-936-0496 on Jungerman Road in St. Peters.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com.
She's black, flesh and bone. No touch, so silicone. She's touch, smell.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
But somehow I can't believe that anything should happen.
I'm Newt Gingrich, and you're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL.
Looks like we're back.
Oh, yeah.
Are we back, Ken?
I
didn't hear the music. And I wasn't even bending the elbow, yet. Are you going to bend the elbow, Ken, for New Year's? We'll talk about that next
I don't
hour,
know.
probably.
That sounds like something very interesting. I don't know. I can't commit. I can't commit yet.
Well, it's amazing. Tomorrow night is New Year's Eve. We're wrapping up the year. We're going to have a couple segments on that. But we're going to wrap up this hour with Ken Abramowitz, who I know your listeners know, and I've interviewed him many times, author of the Multifront War, defending America from political Islam China, Russia, pandemics, and racial strife. You think that is thorough? It certainly is. Ken Abramowitz, thank you for joining us here on News Talk STL.
Sure, pleasure to be with you.
Good to have you. So you are a perfect guest to talk about the fact that Trump, who hardly ever sleeps, I don't know how he does it, Sunday he hosted the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. And at that meeting, Trump says Hamas has to disarm, and he's going to take care of Iran if they don't do what they agreed to do. What are your thoughts on this? And help us. What do you think about the visit yesterday?
Well, I would say so far so good. I only know what I see in open source public information, but the body chemistry was good. The discussions were good. They seem to agree on virtually all the issues. And I'm sure there's more to it than that. I'm sure there was some disagreement about something, but so far it's a love fest. And so that's sounds good to me.
Yeah, I loved that too. They said, well, we disagreed on a few things, but we're on the same page. I think as I watched that, one of the things that I thought, and I'm jumping ahead as I often do, is the budding anti-Semites, both on the right and the left, especially on the right, who are being taken care of one by one, I think. They must have just hated that. When there he was, Donald Trump, hosting Netanyahu, not from the back door, but from the front door, and then Netanyahu gives him an award. So let's see, the left hated it, they gave him an award. The right-wing, outliers who hate the fact that Trump cares about Israel, I think, they were watching that going, what do you think is going on there? I just got to ask you that. These so-called woke right. I don't know. I don't think we even have talked about that ever, Ken. Maybe we have. I don't remember.
Yes,
it's an unfolding
story. It's become a big issue in the past 6 months. It's a very unfortunate issue because we, what I call the normal people, we're fighting a war for survival against criminals. And the criminals come in different flavors. But basically, we have to work together. I don't like when good people fight each other. I don't like when there's fighting between Jews and Christians. I don't like when there's fighting within Christians. I don't like fighting within Jews because we're under attack from what I call the reds, the greens, the blues. The reds are the communists, greens are the Islamists, and blues are the globalists. And we have to devote all our energy to fighting the bad guys, not fighting good guys. So Tucker used to be a good guy, and then he's become a bad guy. We don't need infighting among Republicans. We need, not that it's perfect unity, but at least we have to work together. And Cutter's basically bought off certain of Republicans. And so I no longer regard them as Republicans. I regard Qatar as a green, in other words, a Qatari agent, not a real American anymore, not a real Republican anymore. And it's very unfortunate. Tucker's a very smart person. He's very charismatic. He generally talks well about the issues. But when it comes to Israel, he just has an impediment that he can't get over. But I hope he does get over it. Otherwise, it'll destroy his career. And I don't.
Yeah, but he never had that before. It came on really suddenly, so that makes it especially suspect, don't you think?
Yes. Well,
I hear.
I hear or read that his new company Endeavor got millions of dollars, maybe up $25 to $50 million from Qatar, And so I can see how that can influence him. But he should put a disclaimer.
That can change somebody's mind, can't it?
Yeah, I mean, he should say on his radio broadcast, excuse me, I'm a Qatari agent. Now, let me discuss this issue or that issue. But he doesn't want to do that. And so it's very unfortunate. Anyone who opposes the Jews over time ends up self-destructing, whether it's people or countries or companies. And Jews represent the rule of law. They represent the 10 Commandments. So what someone's really saying is, I oppose the 10 Commandments. Well, anyone who opposes the 10 Commandments, I call a criminal. You know, if you say, oh, it's okay to kill, it's okay to steal, I go, yeah, it's okay if you're a criminal. And so
I would
basically, the criminals have always declared war on Jews, and it's been going on for 3,300 years.
You know what, Ken, I'm always, when I'm asked questions like that, I'm always equivocating a little bit by saying, it's not that we as Jews are so perfect, or that, you know, if you come against us, you're not allowed to disagree, you're not allowed to oppose something a Jew said or did, or you're not even, no one says you're not allowed to oppose the policies of the state of Israel. It's just that people who are really hateful of the things you mentioned, that there's a rule of law, there's rules for behavior, and that there are consequences for that behavior. Through history, you are right. It's sometimes Jews are afraid to say so, but as I have said, Jews are usually the canaries in the mine shaft. Germany wasn't just about murdering Jews. Jews were the canaries in the mine shaft. And if Hitler had succeeded, everyone else would have been next after the Jews. So if you want to see who the bad guys are, see who hates and opposes Jews.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, let's go back to the Reds, the Greens, and Blues, the communists, the Islamists, and the globalists. They all hate Jews, but what they're really after is the Christians. There's 2.5 billion Christians in the world, and there's 16 million Jews. They're not after the 16 million Jews. They're purposely trying to divide Jews from Christians. Judaism is the foundation of Christianity. Jews and Christians I call Siamese twins. So just pretend you're a Siamese twin, and I say, "Oh, I like you, but your twin. I hate your twin. Your twin's terrible. I hate your twin." Well, I have to eliminate your twin. You say, "Excuse me, I'm a Siamese twin." You eliminate my brother or sister who, in the Siamese analogy, whoever it is, you're killing me too. And so that's why I say Jews and Christians have to work together. But the bad guys are after the Christians. There's 2.5 billion Christians, and they feel that if they can eliminate Jews, which they can't, but if they could, and destroy the foundation of Christianity, then the Christians will fall. And that's what we're seeing in Europe, by the way. In Europe, 80 years after the Holocaust, there's a mini Holocaust going on in Europe, and they're trying to get rid of the Jews. And the Christians think, or they're not really Christians anymore, but the former Christians pretending they're Christians, think that if they throw away the Jews, they'll be safe from the Reds, the Greens, and the Blues. And it's not true.
Where
they're
have
going
we
to get swallowed up.
Right.
Where
did we hear that right. before? It's like deja vu all over again.
Right.
I am particularly struck by those who hate America and who have conquest on their minds, wanting to split the Trump coalition by, I use this word advisedly, resurrecting the long-standing tensions between Jews and Christians. Instead of helping Jews and Christians stand together, they know that the best way to come after Christians first and to destroy Trump's coalition is by using Jews as the scapegoat. Do you think that's true?
Yes, and I think that's exactly what's true. And I think it's being organized by our outside enemies. I think I have an expression that we're in World War III, and the difference between World War III and World War I and II, World War I and II were fought over there. World War III, to quote the Beatles, is here, there, and everywhere. So whenever I see bizarre behavior within America, I say, okay, who of our foreign enemies is creating this conflict? Who's creating the conflict between blacks and whites, between men and women, between Jews and Christians? And when I see these conflicts, I say, Americans, we like each other. We don't love each other necessarily, but we respect each other. We believe in life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for everybody. And so we have a huge, big tent in America where we accept just about everybody. So I say, so when I see these conflicts, I say they're contrived. They're created by our outside enemies. And then I guess which outside enemies' fingerprints are involved in this. And then I to quote from Casablanca, I round up the usual suspects and I guess as to whose fingerprints are behind creating these conflicts.
Ken, we're at the end of the year. We're coming close to the end of this segment, although it's really so much fun to talk to you. And what would you like to see? Or this is hard to boil it down, but with so much conflict, you know, in your more optimistic worldview, or what would you most like to see in 2026 to successfully, effectively arrest the tack we are on and have been on? What do you think is going to be most successful in helping what you refer to as the good guys win?
Right. By the way, pretend we were talking in 1944 and you asked me the same question. I would say to you, I want unconditional surrender of Germany and Japan. Hello. So I'll say the same thing. I want unconditional surrender of Iran, the number one source of evil, and I want surrender of Russia against Ukraine. I want surrender of Qatar and Turkey to stop supporting the Muslim Brotherhood. I want China to not surrender, but to lose their appetite for eating up Taiwan. So basically, I want the bad guys to lose. It's not complicated. But
how do the good guys help that happen when sometimes we feel a little bit small in the midst of such enormous challenges? But America has faced those in the past, and you're right, it's here now. But what can ordinary Americans do? I apologize for the question. It's a little overly general, but I think people, that's what they want. Is there what can Americans do?
By the way, it's not much more complicated than this. If you said, "Oh, there's a Super Bowl's coming up next Sunday. What do you want?" I said, "I want my favorite team to win." So I would say we as Americans should want America and our friends to win and defeat evil. And I would say the number one thing to keep your eyes on is Iran. I think Iran's days are numbered. The people are rising up. And if we can have regime change in Iran, it'll change the tone in the world as finally a defeat for the bad guys and a victory for the good guys. That would be the number one thing that I would wish for, and that's actually what I expect. I don't think the Islamo-Nazi criminal organization running Iran will be around if we're talking a year from today.
We can pray for that. That's for sure. Ken, we're on an out, aren't we?
We're on a what?
Which
we have to get going.
No, which Ken are we talking to? Because you have Kenneth Abramowitz and you've got Ken Williams. That's funny. I'm just listening to this conversation. I think it's so intriguing.
You're too kind. You're too kind. I hope so, because Ken Abramowitz is a tremendous guest. I'm looking at my clock going, am I going to hear some music?
No, you will. You will. We're not there yet, but Yeah, I just want to say
okay.
the whole idea of the comparison between Islam and Nazism is amazing to me, and I think that needs to be looked at deeper.
Yes,
yes. Go ahead. Is so
they hate the Ten Commandments. That's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for the Ten Commandments, or as I say, it's God versus the pagans. And the pagans have been fighting the forces of God for 3,300 years, and we can't lose faith now.
All right, there's that music I mentioned. We got to let you go. Thank you, Ken Abramowitz. We appreciate your time.
Pleasure to be with you. Pleasure.
You too. We'll be right back on News Talk STL 94.1, 101.9. We'll be back after the top of the hour break.
Tim Jones here for Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. They've helped me recover from day-to-day aches and pains for years. And here's something special, personal training programs. Whether you're an athlete committed to increasing performance, recovering from an injury, or just want to get healthier and lose weight, their personal training programs will help you reach your goals and stay there. Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, online at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Louis Gohmert, he's a former congressman.
Bob Gibson.
Oh, yeah.
Pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series. And so I snuck my transistor radio in my shirt and had the little earpiece into my ear and tried to keep my head turned where the teacher wouldn't see, but was listening to the World Series in class.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
KLTY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The Trump administration is not backing down one bit in its war on those it identifies as narco-terrorists.
Southern Command says it's conducted a strike on a boat in the eastern Pacific Ocean. The military says the vessel was engaged in narco-trafficking operations, though it did not provide evidence to back up the claim. It says 2 people were killed, and that brings the reported death toll to at least 107 in 30 known boat strikes by U.S. forces in the waters off South America. And President Trump told reporters Monday
there was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs.
In saying the U.S. was responsible. I'm Ben Thomas.
Parts of Wisconsin are under 2 feet of snow, the result of a big winter storm. It pummeled the plains, the upper Midwest, and the Great Lakes before moving into parts of the Northeast. Travel on the roads and in the air was snarled, and there are hundreds of thousands of power outages. A National Guard deployment in New Orleans, authorized by President Trump, gets underway today, part of a heavy security presence for New Year's celebrations. Comes a year after an attack on Bourbon Street left 14 people dead. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell says the extra security is appreciated.
The National Guard, as you know, are expected to be in our city and in partnership with the city through Mardi Gras. Okay, so that is something that we do know, and we absolutely are welcoming of those added resources.
Some 350 Guard members will be hitting the streets of New Orleans through mid-February. A new Russian nuclear-capable missile system has been deployed to active service in Belarus, that according to the Russian Defense Ministry. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 89 points, while the NASDAQ trading 2 points lower, and the S&P is off 3. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Chuck McDowell here with Wesley Financial Group. My 78-year-old friend Linda called me yesterday. She bought a $40,000 timeshare in Nashville. She was told it was a great investment and that he would personally book all her vacations. All lies. She called our sales rep, Chris, the next morning at 4:57 a.m. to cancel, and she was told it was too late. You had your chance yesterday. Another lie. She has 10 days in Tennessee. I am in a war with the timeshare industry because people keep buying their lies and they don't want me to help you. If you need a timeshare, I'm sure one of the 3,500 people that call my office weekly would love to give you one of theirs. Or go online and pay $1 for it, but stop paying $40,000 for lies. It's time to stop the insanity. Don't wait another day.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-364-7711. That's 800-364-7711. 800-364-7711.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures back towards mid-30s this afternoon, feeling slightly cooler. Partly cloudy skies into Wednesday, New Year's Eve, looking at 43 degrees for the afternoon high. Partly cloudy skies. By the big ball drop, temperatures into the upper 20s. And we're going to continue to slightly increase as we head towards the upcoming weekend. Temperatures look to remain back towards the 40s by Sunday, upper 40s, close to 49 degrees. In the first alert for Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Vic Porcelli Show. I'm Karen Cataline, filling in for the great Vic Porcelli, and Ken Williams is with me doing 100 jobs behind the scenes.
And it's so fun, Karen. It's so fun.
I'll tell you, talk show hosts depend on people like you, and you know this so much. And you do on air too, so you are a talk show host. You are a radio guy. But I'm telling you, when the host is going, oh my God, you're so calm and mellow and reassuring. And I just want to say publicly, you are such a doll.
Oh, I appreciate it.
You know what you are? You're a mensch.
I love it. I'm a mensch? See, I'm going to tell Vic now. I'm going to tell Vic. She said I'm a mensch.
Oh,
so.
You are a mensch. You are the mensch. You know what a mensch means?
No. But I love it.
A mensch means a gentleman. Now, it's usually, mothers are saying to their little boys, be a mensch, say thank you when you're supposed to. Be a mensch, behave yourself. Don't bother your sister.
I love that.
Because he's a mensch.
Yeah.
I love it.
A mensch is a good person, really.
Well, good.
Sometimes I call women menschettes occasionally.
I just like the fact, Karen, that I can tell Vic that you called me a mensch.
Yes. I think we can really irritate the life out of him with that one.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to say, how come I'm not a mensch? How come?
That's right.
I wonder if there's an Italian word for mensch.
Oh, there has to be. There's
something similar. Well, then we have to have Vic tell us what that is, because, as you know, there's this marvelous affinity between Jews and Italians. We don't know exactly what it is, but it's really a lot of fun.
Right.
I think that's why Lucky Luciano and Meyer Lansky loved each other and were a really good team. Unfortunately for crime and mayhem, but still.
Well, yeah, it still makes sense, though.
We're not putting them on a pedestal.
No.
But they did have a very synchronistic relationship. Let's put it that way. Benny Siegel, not so much. He was a hothead. Okay. We have to welcome our next guest, and somebody that I have talked to for years on other radio stations, other shows, and he is the CEO and founder of Invest USA, a national grassroots nonprofit for providing police with bulletproof vests. that has aided agencies internationally. He also earned the Congressional Gold Medal Award for Community Service. Did you know that? And has over 30 years of experience in law enforcement. Currently, I don't know if you still are, Michael Chaplain with several agencies, as well as the state constable for the state of South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Lutz joins us right now on News Talk STL. Hi, Michael. How you doing?
Hello, Catherine. Good to talk to you again. You know, my regard for Vic goes up. He picked a good one when he got the replacement to stand in for him today. You know,
replace? Oh, don't say that.
I also learned
don't
something from you. I need to repeat that word, gritch, whatever it is. I kind of like that word. I'll have to put it in my vocabulary.
Grinch? No, a Grinch is something else, Michael. A Grinch stole Christmas. Now, mensch, which is often spelled M-E-N-S-C-H. Mensch.
Okay.
Mensch, right.
I don't want to be a Grinch. I want to be a mensch. Okay, gotcha.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So there's a little bit of an elephant in the living room with you and I hope you don't mind if I just come out with it. And I would love to talk about it. And I don't want, because you and I talked for years, right?
Sure did.
And so I don't want you to feel blindsided or anything, but I challenged you, I think, the last time we spoke on another program about the fact we were talking about the horrible, despicable assassination of Charlie Kirk. And tell me if I have this right, because I want to give you a chance to really respond. You said you did not believe what they were telling us, that law enforcement, what FBI was telling us, and you still don't. Okay, and you're entitled absolutely to your opinion, and I want to give you a lot of time to, to discuss that further. You said that this was a professional hit, and I said because a lot of people, the very first people they blamed, and I avidly disagree with you. I don't think we know all the details yet, but I like FBI, Kash Patel's FBI a lot better than Otto Penn's FBI. That being said, the first people they blamed always are the Jews, and Kenneth Owens and others said, many people said it was the Mossad. And when I mentioned to you, do you think it was the Mossad? You said possibly. And I kind of lumped you together with a lot of people who, are not believing anything. Let's just leave it there. And you tell me, what do you believe? Do you think it was the Mossad? And how do you feel now? Because when we talked, it was closer to when the event actually happened on, I believe it was September 10th.
And I think we had two issues there, Catherine, is that we had a very short, we were coming to the end of the show. So we had a very short amount of time in which to be able to elaborate on anything that was said. And, but actually, I think you and I are much, much closer than one would take at first glance. You asked me to define my position. Do I think we have the black and white solved case? No, I do not. There are too many questions, Catherine, when it comes to
Karen is my name. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Karen Catalina. They both sound like first names,
I don't know
right?
why in the world.
Like Ken.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
We know each other so well, Ken. We really do. That's okay. I'm just teasing. I'm teasing.
I know you are, Karen, but there are too many still variables, too many questions, in terms of where the actual assault weapon is when it was actually utilized. Where are the bullets? Why was the crime scene taken apart without the approval of the coroner? There are so many questions. Does that automatically mean the FBI is wrong? No. But what it does mean, and I've had the conversations with them, is I think we were a little premature in coming out and appearing to state that, hey, issue's done, case is solved, we're moving on to the next one. Because I don't believe that's the case. Now, when they say, do you believe it was a professional? I still believe it was a professional hit. I think there's more than enough evidence that would yield to that. Does it mean that,
do you believe it was the Mossad?
Of course not.
Do you believe it was the Mossad?
No, here is what my response is, because you're not the first person to ask me that. There are all kind of intelligence agencies, whether Mossad, CIA. There are plenty of agencies that are capable of doing that. We do not have the information to know, and probably never will have the information to know which one, if any. Does Mossad automatically get blamed for everything? That's been going on for generations, Karen. You and I both know that. It's always the Jews' fault.
With all respect, Michael, you were perfectly willing to consider that a strong possibility. That was the first one I asked you. I may have played a little bit of gotcha there, and it doesn't mean that if it were the Mossad, I would want to know the truth. Let me make that clear. On the other hand, it's fascinating to me that you didn't say, no, yeah, it could be the Mossad, and there is not a shred of evidence nor motive for that point of view. So I wonder why you were so willing to blame
Karen,
the Mossad or somebody else.
No, well, I think we have a little disagreement. I was not blaming the Mossad. What I was saying is that all the cards are still on the table. We had not had enough information to be able to identify anything. Let's be very blunt. Could the Mossad have done it without assistance from our intelligence agencies? They could have, but very unlikely they would have. So to just blame the Mossad would be totally inaccurate. You know, one thing that people don't know, including you, Karen, I've worked within our intelligence agencies, including foreign intelligence agencies, including Israel. I'm Jewish. I have family over there. I know exactly how they operate. I know how the playbook works. So I'm not.
You're Jewish, Michael?
Ignorant.
Michael,
yes,
are you Jewish?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
I did.
So we were talking, and that's
since you opened that can of worms, give me 30 seconds. You give me 30 seconds, Karen, since you opened that can of worms. My great-grandfather was a Jewish rabbi in Russia. He migrated from Russia to the United States.
Okay.
My grandfather's name is Hoffman. Of course, you know, my grandmother remarried, and that's how I got the name Letts. But my grandfather, Samuel Hoffman, landed on Omaha Beach. You realize his unit, he was only 3 of 100 in the company that survived on that initial landing. So I have very strong family still. The Hoffman family is very prominent in Israel. So I have a lot of connections in Israel. And yes, in my involvement with our intelligence agencies here, I have involved with Israeli and other British and other intelligence agencies. So I know exactly how it operates. I know what we have and haven't done. A lot of stuff I would never comment on. But the question that I thought was being raised is it a possibility? Of course it's a possibility. There's plenty of possibilities. What I was trying to say is we do not have all the information. What I didn't say that probably would have clarified it is, do you think you'll get all the information? Do you have all the information on JFK? Do you have all the information?
Absolutely not.
So,
let me first say that because anybody is Jewish, that doesn't make them required to have any point of view. We are individuals and we have our own brains, and like everybody. So I wasn't saying that. That's fascinating. For years we talked, neither of us knew we were Jewish, which is also very, very interesting. We don't have tons of time left. I want to ask you, and thank you for your candor. I don't think the can of worms is closed or sealed. I have lots of questions. I want to know what you think about Tyler Robinson. Do you think was he a patsy for something else?
Let's be careful how we define the words. I would not use the word he's a patsy. Do I think he has involvement? Yes. Do I think he is the main involvement and the only involvement? No.
Okay. Interesting. What can you leave us with as far as why? I think part of my sensitivity was that Candace Owens and eventually Tucker Carlson and others, they first immediately blamed the Mossad and the Jews. They moved on
They still are.
And then they moved on to Erica Kirk and the whole TPUSA organization. When you go that far, I'm not saying that you have to rule out anything because you have sentiment. But when you make accusations publicly like that, or even allude to the fact that either Jews or Erica Kirk, anybody could do it. It is intellectual trash to do that in order to get clicks. And I think I was trying
the same
to
thing, 110%.
Yeah.
My position is, if you're going to make a statement like that, then you better have the documentation to back it up. Not your opinion. You better have the documentation to back it up.
Right. And there are always usual suspects who get blamed for everything. Look at Donald Trump, how much he is blamed for the sun coming up in the morning. So we have to be better than those people on the and conspiracy theorists. We all know that some conspiracies came true, many of them, but we have to be based in fact and evidence, not just in hyperbole here. I want to give you the last word because I expect the music anytime. It's like I've learned talk radio all over again on this show. It's just amazing. Go ahead. Give us your final thoughts on this this time around, and we'll talk again, I'm sure.
Well, let me give you the final thoughts. There is so much coming up in 26. We are determined to make sure people are held accountable. This is the year that will determine the ultimate destiny of this great nation. So buckle up. We're getting ready to unveil some things that you have no idea are coming in the first quarter of this year. There will be tribunals. There will be indictments coming. And you're going to see people being held accountable. And this, tying back to what we just talked about, that's how you do things. You don't rule anything out, but you keep your mouth shut until you've got the evidence and the facts. You get the indictments, and then you let what this country was founded upon, a jury make the determination.
So are you going to let me give you a hard time if we don't see any indictments and tribunals, Michael?
Well, I will tell you what, let you and I make a deal. You can give me a hard time after I give the hard time on the air about it not being done.
Yeah.
But I'm confident of what I'm saying. I'm confident with the evidence that I've seen. I know what's in the works. I know where it's being held at. You're going to get it. Now, here's what I tell people before you get all excited. My concluding comment. Just because you get an indictment, Karen, doesn't mean you get a conviction.
Well, we saw Michael. We just saw that with James Comey and Letitia James.
You're exactly right. Exactly. So we're going to do everything.
No doubt about it.
To hold people accountable. But I want you to understand we are not going to circumvent our system that our Constitution provides for. You are technically innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
I'll to that. That's Yiddish for yay. I think, though,
I don't like that sometimes. I would like to just say, I know you're guilty, and I'm going to deal with you accordingly. But we live in a law, in a nation of laws.
But can I interject something here, guys?
Please.
I am so sick and tired of hearing about how bad the left is, how bad the Democrat Party is, and nothing getting finalized. No conviction, no perp walks, none of it. And I'm not the only one. But and then someone says,
the country feels that way.
But then someone says, well, there are a lot of things involved here. There's such high up leaders and everything. Well, you know what? I remember over 200 and something people being taken to court and put in shackles and indicted and convicted from the left on the Republicans during the Biden administration. So they can do it, but they have to grow some to do it.
No question. And I've given them an alternative. Michael? Karen knows this because we've talked about it. Military tribunals.
Ken, do you believe that that's going to happen? There's a lot of people out there who are desperate for this, and they say that'll never happen. What do you think, Ken?
The Republican Party better get some courage and make this happen. If this doesn't happen and no one is held accountable, we are in very deep trouble. Because what will happen if the Democrats win 2026 midterms, it's over. They're going to start indictments from day one, and it's going to be not just President Trump, but it's going to be everyone in his cabinet, and they're going to try and guarantee that Hakeem Jeffries, who will be the Speaker of the House, becomes president of the United States. I know this sounds crazy, but if Vance and Trump are indicted, the next person in line will be Hakeem Jeffries.
Mm-hmm. And don't think that that's not what they're planning, because they have no shame. They have no ability to be ashamed.
No, right.
They tried to take Trump off the ballot, and people said, oh, they wouldn't do that. They believe in American values. No, they do not.
No.
They will win any way they possibly can. And I apologize, Michael. I was looking at my schedule for the other show that has you out 4 minutes before. So you see, I am confused. I think I have the brain of Happy New Year, and I haven't had anything to drink. Michael, I am delighted.
I love you anyway.
Yeah, I love you too. Michael, I'm delighted with this conversation. It was one that I was hoping to have with you, and I'm pleased that we got to have it on News Talk STL. Happy New Year to you. And we appreciate
you. God bless. Right. God bless America, and buckle up, because it's going to be an interesting year.
Hey, Happy New Year, Michael. And here, and Michael, I want to send this out to you, Michael.
Because he's a mensch.
There you go, buddy.
I love it. Thank you.
I love it.
Okay. Have a happy New Year.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Michael. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back on News Talk STL 94.1, 101.9. We'll be back after this.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at Newstalk STL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Live and be well.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's Newstalk STL.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
When I think back on all the crap I learned in high school, it's a wonder I can think at all. And my lack of education hasn't hurt me none. I can read the writing on the wall.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Whoosh.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Taking aim at the Biden-Harris economic record, and that's what we do too right now. January 2021, still reeling from COVID. That's when they were sworn into office. In June of 2022, inflation peaked at a high of 9.1%, which was the highest since November of 1981. gas prices now, June and July of 2022, that same year. I've got $5.16 national average to be the peak in July of that month. In October 2023, that's when real estate started to feel it. Mortgage rates hit almost 8% in that month.
There you go.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
We forget, don't we?
Am I right? People have very short memories in politics. You know, it's the same way we do watch the way the Democrats suddenly are flip-flops. Every time Trump gets in office, they care about things they never cared about when Democrats were in office. Namely, you know, a president with dementia. They never cared about that.
No.
And then suddenly they care. This is so telling. We have to keep remembering. Look at the, I don't know what the prices are where you are on gas. I saw $2.15 for regular gas. What's it over in St. I couldn't believe it.
Well,
Louis, what is it?
It's close. I've heard Vic talk about in his area, it's gotten down to around 219 actually. In my area, it's more like 259, I believe now. But here's the important thing with this, Karen, because energy is so important. Energy is going to drive everything else. When you have these artificially dropped prices like Biden did during his candidacy, during Kamala Harris's candidacy, they sold reserve oil to bring the gas prices down. That's artificial. And eventually it would have gone back up past $5. Remember what he just said there on the Fox News host said was that gas was $5 a gallon. Not in California. We're not talking about that. We're talking about around the country. It was close to $5 a gallon. I remember that. I remember 9.1% inflation that was supposed to be quote unquote transitory. Okay. When you bring down prices of gas and energy, Karen, that is a system. It's a plan like President Trump and his cabinet have right now, slowly bringing it down based on the infrastructure, based on manufacturing, based on actually drill, baby, drill. Then you get prices that are going down, but they're going down not artificially, and they're going to stay there.
Yeah, and look at how hard Trump had to fight to get the Fed to lower interest rates, because they knew that would put a fire under the economy to lower interest rates.
Right.
Which Powell did grudgingly. He should have done it a lot sooner, but he shamed him into it. Trump is good at that. He shamed Powell into it. Otherwise, I don't know if Powell would have done it at all. He was getting a lot of heat for that.
Well, and when you mention Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, you automatically think of the Fed. Okay. You know what I think of? I think of that conversation when they were walking in that building, and Jerome Powell was talking about President Trump said something about, well, you're like almost $2 billion over budget on this building. He's like, I don't know about that. He's like, yeah, you are. Trump's a builder, mister. Trump is a builder. He's a contractor. The guy knows what he's talking about. He's proven it over and over and over again.
He made him look so small.
He really did.
Do this. There's two things that I'd love to talk about.
Yeah.
You mentioned that we had a little bit of disagreement, but I love it. I mean, we love disagreement, discussion, debate. That's what's missing in this new world, frankly, that the Democrats have tried to create. You're not allowed to disagree with me, but what is it? You're welcome to disagree. You're welcome to my opinion. So if there are people who truly disagree on anything that we've discussed up until now in this show, and we're just about halfway through this extravaganza here.
The 3-hour tour that we always call it.
Are we on Gilligan's Island? I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
So if there's something that either Ken or I said or something you disagreed with, please call in, text, Twitter, whatever. And I love that sort of thing. I love interaction. Or if you have something you're either excited about for 2026 or wary and frightened of in 2026, you already said something about that, Ken, the midterms, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and I want to let's take it one step further with the listeners. We got the Vic heads, and if you're on the phone, 912-1019. It's 314-912-1019. We're also on Instagram, Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter live right now on the stream. So you can put your comment in that section, that way, and you'll get immediate response from that as well. So just if you feel it, if you're feeling it, and you want to say something about 2026, and you're all excited about it, or if you did, like Karen said, if you disagree with something that we've said here today with us and any of the guests, let us know about it.
Or, it's always, if you want to rant, I mean, to a point, we like that too.
Yeah, just no curse words.
So, no curse words. Well, you'll have your finger firmly on the button in case that happens.
Oh, it's right here. Yeah.
Delay. Do we have a delay?
Oh yeah.
So I will say that I do not look forward to the left continuing to rewrite history and say things that aren't true. I mean, I know that's a broad generalization, but I don't look forward to having to watch them claim moral high ground when they have none. I think that's the thing that bothers me the most. They will never, no matter if they were caught in the act, if you had them on video, helping Somalis steal billions with a B from our tax dollars in fraud and corruption, they will never take responsibility for anything. So I dread that because it hurts my soul to watch it. I mean, we all want to have truth, and in our own lives, our moms hopefully taught us, take responsibility when you screwed up. If you screwed up, admit it, move on. What did I learn from this? Democrats never do that. Their tactics are simply to ignore it and then let the propaganda media take over and rewrite history. So that's what I dread. What I'm looking forward to is another year of the golden age of America and see what Trump does. I make special prayers for Donald Trump, that he should be safe, that he should be healthy and happy, and that he's on a what's the word? He's
mission
on a speeding train.
Oh, okay.
I have never seen anybody who is in a race against time to get stuff done.
Because
it amazes me.
Because he knows, Karen, he knows that if he doesn't get it done now, it's not going to happen. He has to do it during his term. The thing is about that I'm worried about is that it's not going to be codified. He has all of these executive orders that he put in that are just amazing, and then they're and you know what, they're amazing for the American people. That's the big thing, and the Congress needs to codify these. They need to put these things into law. If they don't, the next man, I hate to say this, the next Democrat president will change them in one day. They may even use the auto pen. We don't even know.
Well, the other thing he's on the speeding train is happening behind the scenes is to deal with election fraud. Here's one I heard. I want to check it out with you because you're probably even more of a news junkie than I am. And that's saying something, you and Vic, because you do, oh my God, 15 hours of radio a week. That's a lot of radio.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've learned about Donald Trump, among other things, we continually learn, is that he, what you see publicly, and he is amazingly candid, but it's always the tip of the iceberg with him. What he's doing that he tells you about is only a teeny tiny part of his strategy for what else he's doing. There's always purpose and mission behind everything he does. For example, the one that I just loved recently, I hope I have this accurate, is that blowing up Venezuelan coke boats is not only good for America, but it turns out Venezuela was much more involved in election fraud than we ever could have believed. We thought it was China, and it probably was, and a lot of foreign entities, but they were running a lot of this through Venezuela. So he's getting I hate to use such crude language, bangs for his buck. He's letting them know what for in Venezuela, which he's perfectly legitimately well within his rights as president of the United States to do. It's audacious for sure. But he's also dealing with this corrupt entity that was monkeying around in our elections. What do you say, Ken?
Oh, I totally agree with you. In fact, we found out, and I won't say their names, but the software product and the hard machines that we were using for voting, turns out there was an ownership in Venezuela, of all places, that own those particular machines. So there you go, Karen. That just adds another little line to corruption from Venezuela, China, to the Democrat Party. And I mean, if you had a wall of those threads that they use to connect things, it'd be like a mesh screen.
Well, no wonder they hate Trump so much. He's effective.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. He gets it done, and that's what they'd love, an ineffective, corrupt Republican. Then they can corrupt him more, but not this one.
Or Karen, or a uniparty person, like the Bushes and the Cheneys and all them. They love Mitt Romney. They were hoping Mitt Romney would win, either him or Obama. It didn't matter in 2012.
It wouldn't have mattered.
No,
it wouldn't have mattered. And look how long it took us to figure out that the Bushies they would prefer communists to a Donald Trump who worked for the people instead of the machine.
Easily.
How about that?
Yep.
I heard music. Did I hear music? I hear music. Okay, it's time to take a break, and we'll be back with the wonderful Drew Thomas Allen. Thank God for Ken Williams. I couldn't get through this show without you.
I love you.
101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. We'll be right back.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at NewstalkSTL. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
If you took all the girls I knew when I was single.
In my life, I had a guardian angel by my side. I called her Mamaw. She loved the Lord, ladies and gentlemen. She was a woman of very deep Christian faith. But she also loved the F word.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
They're literally taking the Constitution and putting it in a paper shredder.
News Talk STL.
Severe storms are just part of life here in St. Louis, and that means your roof absorbs a lot of wear and tear. It might be time to replace it to keep the rest of your house or your business safe. I'm Mike Ferguson for TB Exteriors. Whether it's storm repair or a complete roof replacement, TB Exteriors has been providing roofing, gutter, siding, and window exteriors throughout St. Louis. And this is important, they'll assist you with insurance claims. Visit tbexteriors.com to schedule a free estimate.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
Fox News commentary with Kaylee McGee-White next.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Here's Kaylee McGee-White.
I do think that it's pretty important that if you are driving an 80,000-pound rig, you should be able to read the road signs. You should be able to communicate clearly over the radio. You should be able to check the weight limits, make sure that your insurance, your registration are up to date. There are so many factors at play here where speaking English is a very, very important part of the job. And if migrant drivers are not able to fulfill that very simple requirement, they should not be behind the wheel. This is really not too much to ask. I think the audacity of thousands of migrants to come to this country, lose the ability to work because they have not fulfilled a basic requirement of the job, and then to file a lawsuit against our own country for enforcing laws that are supported by the majority of actual Americans, the audacity to do that, it is astounding.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Columbo and Company.
Join us every day for conversations with a wide variety of guests as we keep you informed and up to speed on all the important news and headlines you need to know.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
Bigger. It's bigger than you, and you are not me.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Forget about it.
This is Newstalk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Vic Porcelli Show. It's really interesting being on the other side of the mic. I'm still on the same side of the mic, but hosting and guesting are two different things, aren't they?
They really are. We've had that conversation before, Karen. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm filling in for Vic tomorrow, and
I'm so glad to hear it.
Yeah, it's gonna. Good. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a challenge, but it's going to be fun. I know I'm going to have Vic heads there. We're going to have a lot of great guests, and we might even have a surprise at the end of the show. But when you bring that up, it really is. I was talking to our boss, Jeff, about it. And I said, yeah, when you have your stuff down as a producer, you make sure that everybody's settled, everything's good. And then someone says, well, why don't you go ahead and do that? And I'm like, hey, that's a different skill set, isn't it? So, yeah, it really is. So it's pretty interesting.
You wear so many hats for Newstalk STL. Not only do you work behind the scenes, but then you have to quick and switch hats and be on air and then support the neurotic guest host, things like that, whatever it has to be. And now we may have another little pivot because we don't have our guest yet.
Yeah, I'll check in on him again, but I don't know if Drew might be on vacation also.
Okay. Well, did anybody comment, or did we on our last segment at all?
Oh, I haven't checked. Here, let me check here.
Oh, let's see if anybody commented. We'll continue with the same thing.
I hear there are people just saying enjoying the show, Karen, and enjoying having you on.
Oh,
Vic will love to hear that as well. And then having hey, hello, fellow Vic heads, and what's that?
Are you being facetious?
Oh yeah, just a little bit. A lot of people were responding to the perp walk idea of those people who have done us wrong over the last 4 years and holding them accountable. And going back to that for just a second, when you and Michael were talking, Michael Lutz, that's such a critical thing, I think, at this stage in this country. We talk about how different things are today. They're not like they were 20 years ago, Karen. This government is different. Well, no, you know what? I don't even want to say that. I don't think the government's so different, but I think the awareness of the American people is a lot different. I've always told Vic when I was, 25 years ago, I thought, the government of the United States would never do something like that. That's the CIA. They are above board. They care about the American people. That FBI, they're so honorable. Today, you have to at least question. You've got to question a lot of this stuff. The Biden administration, I think it was corrupt. I think it was corrupt through and through. And sorry, but prove me wrong here. I can I can cite many, many examples of how corrupt the government wasn't with the Biden administration, because it wasn't the Biden administration. It was a lot of people behind the scenes, including one Barack Obama.
Yeah, it's one of the first times when there were conspiracy theorists who said, oh, he's a puppet president, and people would go, that's just a conspiracy theory. And we watched the puppet president in real time. We watched it happen. So to call it the Biden administration is a misnomer completely.
Yeah.
The closest we could come, and it would be truly accurate without even knowing the inside details, which I suspect are a lot uglier than we could possibly know. But at the very least, we could call it Obama's third term.
Mm-hmm.
How can you not? All the same people were in that administration, all the same party arcs, as they used to be called. If Obama had had a third term, this is exactly what he would have done. It was on the radical left's agenda to open our borders, to overwhelm our system with people on the public dole who vote the way you want, that's really right out of Stalin, right? It's not who votes, it's who counts the votes. All of that was being put in place before our very eyes. And as we said, there was one thing those people, and yeah, they are a them because we don't know all their names, but we know that Obama probably was not the mastermind. I think he's more of a soldier, but boy, oh boy, he's a true believer.
Well, when you talk about that type of hierarchy type situation, I agree with you totally.
Yeah.
Back when he was a community organizer in Chicago, someone found him in the Democrat Party, and they said, "Okay, we're going to have to groom this person to become a leader." Because he had to think about it. First of all, for the Democrats, it meant a lot that he was black. Then also, he had a great voice.
Of course,
he's a very good orator. So with that, they said, "Well,
Biden said he was clean.
He was right.
Biden said he was clean.
Exactly.
I go you one better. I interrupted you.
No, you're good. Go.
Conversation because we're going. Well, it's possible. One could assert. I'm using my words carefully. One could assert that he was groomed much earlier than that because his mentor was one Frank Marshall Davis. That's a fact. Frank Marshall Davis was a communist, an out-and-out communist. So communists like to play the long game. I'm not saying that everybody anointed him, but he was being groomed for that position. Why do you think he went to Chicago? Let's see, he was born in Hawaii. We all know all that, but a lot of people just close their eyes to it. And that entity of radical leftists who have taken over the Democrat Party are not just with the young, who they nurtured in communism, but the nurturers of communism who are old and who were skilled in lying about their agenda. I mean, do you think for 1 minute if Obama got up there in 2008 and said, I'm a communist and I don't much like the country. Actually, there were lots and lots of hints that he didn't like the country. I could get into the weeds here, but the things that he said made it clear that he didn't like our system of government. He didn't like that the government was restrained. He considered the government being restrained a problem rather than a disadvantage rather than an advantage.
Right.
So the skilled deceitfulness is what you and I and people who understand have been living with under deceit. I mean, would he have pulled a Castro and said, okay, we are all not communists now? And now, 15 years later, we have avowed communists who ran as communists. How about that?
Well, yeah. And then getting back to today with Barack Obama, he got control, right? And at that point, he becomes the leader. He is in control. He even said, have you ever seen the video with Barack Obama being asked, what would your perfect third term be? Have you ever seen that video?
I haven't.
This
Tell
is
me.
not AI. This I saw this probably 4 years ago. And it's Barack Obama sitting there, and a reporter asked him point blank, what would your favorite third term be if you could have a third term? And he said, my favorite third term would be me to sit behind the scenes. I wouldn't even want to be out in public anymore. I didn't like that. He said, but I need to make all the decisions, but I would like to have someone up front to send the message. Guess what we had for 4 years? That was it.
Gee, ding, 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 ding.
Right.
Not only that, but when he was up front, he had other people pushing the buttons to let him know, all right, your job now, Barack, is not to deal in policies. Your job is to set up systems, we talked about this earlier, that will sabotage American policy and procedure so that the next president won't be able to do anything. Now, he's learned enough to mentor the next generation into deceit. I was chilled. I found it chilling that all we heard about Obama and his support for Mamdani was that he had several telephone conversations with Mamdani. Now, I hate to tell you, but I could probably do not a comedy routine, but write a script that I imagine if one was a fly on the wall, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Don't say what you really plan to do. Keep asserting that you have the New Yorkers' best interest at heart, and then go do exactly the opposite.
Okay, you've been on the air before with Vic and I when I brought up the word taqiyya. Actually, you corrected me because I was saying it wrong. Taqiyya, to lie. It's in the Quran.
No, I think you did say it right. I thought you said it wrong.
No, I said kafiyya.
Taqiyya.
I remember.
Oh, yeah.
And you said no.
Taqiyya.
I think you're wrong on the pronunciation.
Yes.
So I looked it up immediately, and it's taqiyya, and it's you are encouraged to lie to the infidel. And he's Islam. That's what he is. Barack Obama had many conversations with him before he was elected, and he said, "I won't endorse him, but I think he's a great candidate." And he did everything. He said everything except for I endorse Mamdani. Why didn't he
endorse him?
Karen, why didn't he say I endorse him? Why didn't he say that?
Right.
Because that would be on the record.
Because people who want who want to superimpose their sense that Obama can do no wrong, and who still think communism is bad, like maybe the old school Democrats, he didn't want to aggravate them. He's learned how to parse his words to get what he wants. We all know politicians do that. You know what you said, that I'm going to share something I don't think I ever shared on the air before, and I won't use the name of the person. He was rather prominent because he looked at me like I was the RCA dog when I said this. I said this to him. He was quite prominent, and I asked him this question. It was 2009, maybe mid in his first term, Obama's term. I said, "So, sir, do you think that the Muslims are going to be the useful idiots of the Marxists?" And by that I mean communists, okay? Generally, writ large. Or do you think the Marxists are going to be the useful idiots of the Muslims? And because he was an academic, he looked at me like I had three heads.
What a great question.
He couldn't conceive. And that was when I became scared. Thank you. I became scared for the future. At that very moment, when I began to see, I think everybody had their moment of recognition when they said, oh boy, this country is in big trouble. And you could see it. And I don't know if I said Muslims, the useful idiots of Marxists, and vice versa, but we have a president who's both. That was the kicker.
Oh, okay. And that I believe is true. And he said, well, he's never really called. He said he was a Christian at one point, and that he went to the what was that church? Who was that pastor that was just hated
Reverend
America?
Wright.
Reverend Jeremiah Wright. Yes.
Reverend Wright.
And
even though Jeremiah Wright is a crypto Muslim, as is his congregation. Crypto, hidden Muslims. Yes.
So then you have this person here. That's such a great question, Karen, because and you said it way back then, but now you have Mamdani, who is you have to ask the same question. Because he says, well, I'm a socialist. Okay, well, you know what socialism is? All it is a training for Marxism, which leads to communism. I mean, that's really, if you really want to get down to it, that's what that is. So he has that, but he has these many tools, Karen. He has these tools, like, for example, if you say something against Islam, you're an Islamophobe. That's a tool because it'll shut you up. Mm-hmm. Okay, he has these tools like the LGBTQIA plus community. He uses them and says, "I'm on your side. I'm for you. You have to listen to me because I'm one of you." He's not, but he's using them as a tool, right?
Yeah, well, eventually they will be at each other's throats. And as Kissinger, who I was never fond of, said, it's a pity they both couldn't lose and leave the rest of us alone.
Right.
But that's another story. Well, we took care of another segment, you and I love it. Okay. So we have one more hour of this 3-hour tour, don't we?
Be right back.
I love it.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
All of these collaborators should be shaved, pajamaed, and spit out. People that may be a little off balance are hearing these, quote, leaders.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
This is Tony Colombo, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the cheesesteak made with American Wagyu beef from Snake River Farms, and you have to include a side of their amazing fries. I love Capriati's, and you will too.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill.
If you're worried about losing your health insurance through Medicaid, we have great news for you. New government regulations have expanded the Affordable Care Act. And now you may qualify to get health insurance for you and your family through the Affordable Care Act. Call now to learn if you qualify. We know the healthcare regulations regarding Medicaid, and we've helped thousands of people find quality, affordable health insurance. Plus, all our research is free to you. So call us. With just one call, we'll shop from hundreds of different insurance companies to find you the right affordable health insurance plan. So if you're worried about losing your Medicaid insurance, call right now. Speak with a licensed agent and find how you may qualify for a new health insurance plan.
800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. That's 800-479-0931. Paid for by the Health Insurance Hotline.
KLTY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. The powerful winter storm that brought snow, ice, and high winds across the plains and upper Midwest continues to move to the east. National Weather Service meteorologist Andrew Orison is tracking the storm.
We did have the most recent winter storm that did produce areas of ice, and that actually did produce some power outages across portions of Michigan and especially across New York State. The conditions are improving when it comes to that, but nevertheless, we still do have some strong winds that will be potentially causing maybe a few more power outages across portions of the Northeast, but at this point, the worst does seem to be over.
President Trump has been talking with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu about how to implement Phase 2 of the Gaza ceasefire. The president wants to move quickly, but says Hamas must disarm. At their meeting in Mar-a-Lago yesterday, the president also said Iran should not try to reconstitute its nuclear program.
Now I hear that Iran is trying to build up again, and if they are, we're going to have to knock them down. But hopefully that's not happening.
And the president confirmed a U.S. military strike on a docking facility in Venezuela, where he claimed boats were loaded with illicit drugs. U.S. home prices rose in October, but at the slowest annual rate in more than 13 years. Government data show home prices were up just 1.7% last month. It's another positive sign in a housing market that has been too expensive for many would-be homebuyers. More artists have canceled performances at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. after President Donald Trump's name was added to the facility. Kennedy Center President Richard Grenell claimed the cancellations were politically motivated and that the center has received inquiries from artists willing to perform there. More details at townhall.com.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify. You ever wonder why Verizon charges twice as much as Pure Talk for the same basic service? Think it might have something to do with the fact that Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion. That's billion with a B. Yeah, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. That's why they can offer unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Save an additional 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say the words micro. That's pound 250, micro.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by the Trolley Stop Bakery, the official bakery of the Vic Porcelli Show. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
For a 3-hour tour, a 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough.
We squeeze in a dry hump day under partly sunny skies.
From New Jersey to Baldwin, Missouri, 2 behind the microphone, taking the whoosh to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show. Here he is, Vic Porcelli.
Well, not exactly Vic Porcelli, Karen Cataline filling in, but I think I'm going to, you remember when Rush Limbaugh, Ken Williams, trusted wonderful, who's going to be hosting this show tomorrow, remember when Rush Limbaugh had an adopted hometown? I don't know what it was.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what town he adopted, but I think it was like somewhere in Oakland or somewhere like that. I think I'm going to adopt my hometown. My hometown really is Denver, but I'm going to adopt Defiance, Missouri as my hometown.
Oh, there you go. Home of Nick Schroer.
I love it. I love the idea of a Defiance, Missouri, and a town called Defiance. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's like it warms my soul. Well, we have another host on News Talk STL who's kind enough to come on and talk to us. You're very familiar with him. Dr. Randy Tobler, and host of the Dr. Randy Tobler Show, Saturday mornings, 6 to 9 p.m. on News Talk STL.
6 to 9 a.m.
And, let's see, also 6 to 9. What did I say, p.m.?
Yeah.
Don't listen to him then. 6 to 9 a.m., 93.9 Eagle in Columbia, Missouri. Hi, Dr. Randy Tobler. Such a pleasure to have you on our show today.
Hey, Karen, great to be with you. Call me Randy. All my friends do, and so do the malpractice attorneys. So they prefer it.
What do they hate most about you that they're always giving you a hard time for? It's probably something I love, I'm sure. I'm just not generally a friend of the malpractice bar because they're not kind to my colleagues who are trying their best to take good care of patients. You know how that is. The personal injury bar and the doctors don't always get along very well. No, they always have had that natural tension between one another for good reason. I'm always fascinated by people. I've met a few in my time that were both doctors and lawyers, and I wondered how much they argue with themselves.
Yeah, they have to see the psychiatrist frequently because they have like a schizophrenic personality. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
I know. Isn't Dr. Gold, I forget her first name, who came out with COVID, came out during the COVID years.
Oh, yeah.
Fraught with lies and deception. And she came out, I don't remember her first name. She's a doctor and a lawyer. Formidable type. I was going to ask you, this says you could talk about anything, politics, medical, national, everything. And I'm thinking, it's so a part of life now that medicine is now been politicized, like tying your shoes, like everything in our world today. It's been politicized. What do you see coming down the pike? And I know you're probably talking about on your show, that is imposing itself on citizens that we remember as kids, it was never the government's business. So in what way is medicine, after COVID, everything became, but in your opinion in particular?
Well, you know what's been really frustrating to me, Karen, and I think so many of my colleagues who are just really good, solid clinicians who just want to take good care of patients, have the ability to have a frank discussion with adults about, hey, here's something I've thought about that might be helpful for you. And there may be some risks, and well, maybe it's not FDA approved, but from time to time it might help someone. Oh, but I can't do it because either I'm employed because of conglomeration and corporatization of medicine, and so many doctors are employed, and my bosses tell me I can't do it because I'll get in trouble with this board or that board or the FDA or whatever. Or as we've seen recently, a lot of the headlines have talked about how tramadol, which became an alternate to opioids once the opioid door was shut for doctors, which I think is a shame because there's many patients that benefit from chronic opioids and they use stable doses for years. Just the other day in the Wall Street Journal, gabapentin, which again was another off-label, often used analgesic for patients. Because opioids, you're a bad boy if you prescribe more than 2 days worth of opioids. Bad doctor, And so doctors are trying to help patients. And increasingly, the government and its agencies say, don't do that, not this, not that. And they tell patients to take ibuprofen and Tylenol, which doesn't really fit the bill for many patients. So the perfect example we've been talking a lot about is, a lot of patients finally say, Doc, you're not willing to, or you're CYAing, or you're, out of good faith, not giving me this or that med. I'm going to try THC and CBD. Yeah. And now we're reporting the Wall Street Journal says, there's research going on to it, and it may become a real viable alternative for people with chronic pain. The whole point being, why does the government have to get in our face? Oh, excuse me, it's because they're paying the bills for 2/3 of Americans. That's why.
Yeah. Them who, pays the freight, makes the rules. No doubt about it. And then suddenly when the government gets in the marijuana business, as they did first in the country, in my home state of Colorado, they were able to create a double black market because they did. It's funny. Everybody said you got to legalize marijuana because we'll get rid of the black market. Instead, the government not only became the biggest drug pusher in town, but it also elevated, if you would, the black market, because they don't believe in free markets of individuals just doing business on their own between one another. So they made it worse, as they so often do.
Well, I talked to in fact,
go ahead.
It's interesting. It's interesting you're talking to me from your home in Colorado, because a very treasured addiction specialist that I know, who's been in the business for a long time, said that with the advent of legalized marijuana and the extra potent stuff and the gummies and the this and the that, that actually she just saw a real uptick in problem use of, it's like, this is not your grandma's marijuana. And
no,
it's interesting.
It isn't.
Yeah, when they tax it and the price goes up, is it any wonder that a black market develops? I'm so glad to hear you say that, because that's what we predicted is going to happen in Missouri.
Well, did you get, forgive me for not knowing, did you get medical marijuana or out and out recreational marijuana in Missouri?
First medical, and then just a couple of years ago, out and out recreational marijuana. There are more dispensaries than there are liquor stores up and down the street at this point. Yeah.
I hate to tell you, I have very strong libertarian tendencies, but I watched firsthand, and I don't live in Colorado anymore because Colorado wants to be the next San Francisco. It already is. But I watched as Colorado went down the tubes, partly because of marijuana. They used it as a voting issue, for one. But secondly, they already want and will probably get so-called safe injection sites in Colorado. And that's the problem is, to call it safe injection sites is an abomination. They're taking the clean needles places, turning them into places where people can go and shoot up, even though it's illegal. At one time, I never believed all drugs should be legal, but when I saw what happened to Colorado due to the legalization of marijuana, I realized, of course, I said it before, the government became the biggest drug pusher in town. It was better to keep them out of it and keep it illegal as a misdemeanor than it is for a state to be beholden to these massive people who come in and want to keep people high constantly. It also made our roads infinitely less safe. So it was a nightmare, really, for Colorado. Sorry to say. And do you agree or do you disagree?
Well, I would say that I struggle with the libertarian in me that realizes that libertarianism only works when social Darwinism is at play. And it sounds cruel.
So well
but you
put.
can't.
Yes.
You can't have a safety net that is a hammock, as it is in the United States at this point, to where my actions become someone else's responsibilities. I think that free and legal drugs, almost up and down the board, except for kids, obviously, would actually take care of themselves if there was a free consequence market, if you will, to where, hey, you want to do whatever you do. I'm not going to bail you out unless you want to come to my church and get Jesus, or my synagogue and get a little religion and a little personal responsibility and a little, those kind of moral virtues, a little of the 10 Commandments, if you will. But it doesn't work in a society where my responsibility and my consequences becomes your responsibility, or my freedom becomes your responsibility.
Oh my God, it's such a cool conversation. Yeah. This is so cool, because what you are pointing to, I think also, is the secondary, not the unintended consequence, but there are intended consequences for keeping the population high and out of it. And part of it, and a big part of it, is being dependent on government and absolving people of personal responsibility. There's a payoff for that for big government communists, which is what we have now. So taking God out of the public square and taking personal responsibility out of the citizen is, I'm sorry to say, we've watched it. The left communists, that's their stock in trade. That's their stock in trade. That's how.
Well, let's be honest about it, Karen.
Yes.
Let's be honest about it. Didn't the bullshit? Didn't the Soviets make their stock in trade in communism by keeping vodka almost free and encouraged? You keep the people intoxicated, and you can control them.
Didn't the communist Chinese, do that with the poppy and the heroin houses? What were they called? They were, it was done in communist China as well. Right. I forget the opium dens. Opium dens.
Yeah.
Right.
It's okay, right? It's okay for you. And what happened during COVID? You couldn't go to a 12-step meeting, but you could go to all the liquor stores you want.
Yeah. That's so true.
I don't want to put on my tinfoil hat and say that it's all contrived, but they certainly don't mind if they numb the masses and make it easy for them to be manipulated and take away their discernment and pretty much deactivate their prefrontal cortex. That's that judgment center. And I think that's what we're at risk of having here in the States. This is going to be a pivotal year in 2026. I mean, we're really at this point where is it a matter of, give people what they want on someone else's back, whether it's economic or whether it's social liberties, or are we going to come back to personal responsibility and some recognition of there is an absolute right and a wrong and a good and an evil and a man and a woman? I think that's the pivotal question that people are going to have to ask themselves, the midterms being the prominent, arbiter of that leverage point.
Without a doubt. And I don't think it's a conspiracy theory if you look at the evidence we have right before us, that we have card-carrying communists in this country, many of them in Congress, and less covert about it than ever before. We have communist socialist policies, and you've never, we have a history of watching countries being taken over by communism by absolving people of personal and individual responsibility. First, they make people conformists so that they can't be held responsible for their behavior. I mean, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory when you see, and I'm not very, very knowledgeable as I'd like to be in history, that there's always a list of things you do. And the first thing you do, if you want to turn America communist, take away, marginalize and hate people who feel accountable to God or to something greater than themselves. And there's a whole list of them. And the policies that the left has been taking are all of those, or they run the communist playbook. Anyway, I think I'm getting off the subject here. I'd love to hear more about what you think is happening in the year to come. We've got New Year's Eve tomorrow, and what are you looking forward to the most in your field, in medicine and the like?
Well, look, I think AI is going to really help advance the solution to a lot of the most vexing things that we face, including cancers, maybe turning them, if not into curable illnesses, perhaps into manageable chronic illnesses. We've already seen some of that with the advent of the so-called biologic agents, both in cancer and in autoimmune therapies. So I think we're going to see a lot of advances there. Some of it may be Brave New World stuff that, frankly, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with, but a lot of me in terms of reproductive things and stuff like that. That concerns me. I don't want AI to turn medicine into God. I really am concerned about that. But if it makes us better healers, so be it. And I really hope that some of the disruptive forces in medicine on the access side, I saw a report the other day on NBC News, of all places, about the direct primary care movement. I'm personally involved in that. And this is not a commercial for that. It's a commercial for me. It's a commercial for the movement. It's good old-fashioned medicine where people spend time with their doctors and behaviors are changed. And it's a race to see whether is government going to continue to take over more of our care like the Democrats want. And that argument is being, unfolded before our eyes here in the next few weeks with this latest shutdown, maybe facing us. Or are people going to keep their own money, have catastrophic insurance, and shop and let the free market and let better or worse decide better or worse doctors and x-ray facilities and labs and hospitals because patients know. And when they pay their own bills and they shop around, prices are brought down, access is improved, services improved, and health is improved. So that economic race between government being the payer and patients taking back their responsibility will be the other big story of 2026. At least I hope so.
Yeah. It's going to be fascinating because there are certain natural conflicts. I've been exploring AI and health for a little while now, totally a beginner. And I think what I've seen is people are going to become much more self-directed in their healthcare. Yep. And knowing exactly what over-the-counter drugs do to you. They're not inert. They have issues with them. And that's in direct contradiction to the government's need to control everything. So that's going to be really interesting to watch. So I hear music, but it's going in and out. I think the music is saying that I need to wrap this up, right, Ken?
Yeah, we're good. We're okay.
I'm never very sure. I think it's wonderful that you're so on top of that. I'm going to have to tune into your show, which is 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., right, Randy?
On Saturdays. Yes, indeed.
On Saturdays. Best of luck. Happy New Year. What a pleasure to talk to you.
Same to you. Great to get to know you.
Hey, Dr. Tobler, Happy New Year to you, sir.
Same to you. Hope it's prosperous and healthy for both of you.
For you as well.
Thank you. Well, we'll take a break, and you're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL. We'll be right back.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Turbocharge turbocharge the emerging global clean energy economy.
On Newstalk STL. This is 101.9 and 94.1.
I have to tell you, if this is how they're going to behave, I'm rethinking my position.
Newstalk STL.
Streaming TV is where it's at. It's not about cutting the cord anymore. That's old news. It's all about your customized TV options. With the best and cheapest high-speed internet and your own TV subscriptions, we've got your dream TV lineup. Between wired and satellite internet and TV, you now have tons of options. Save money and get more internet speed and better TV today by calling the Whole Home Connect. We scan your location and offer you the best TV and internet options. And we always have specials and promotions. So when you call, ask about that. Take 5 minutes of your time. Make this free call now and learn how to save money and get better internet and TV for your home anywhere in the U.S. Make this simple and free call now.
800-257-1632. 800-257-1632. 800-257-1632. That's 800-257-1632.
So, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an optimist. A what? An optimist. My dad is one, and he says optimists help kids. He says they have all sorts of activities and programs for kids. Things that help kids feel good about themselves. Dad says they have sports programs, safety programs, and things that are just fun. So, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I kind of want to be a rock star, but now I think I might want to be an optimist too.
News, analysis, opinion.
Don't always agree, but in love listening to your radio station.
This is tyrannical stuff they're doing.
Elections have consequences. This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Whoosh.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Over here, dear.
On News Talk STL.
Are you okay? Is everyone fine? Margo, if you would, I think you could sit outside and have some food. Would you like to have food, or do you consider that a bribe? And therefore you cannot write honestly, or therefore you have to write a bad story. Okay, because if you'd like, would you like something to eat at this time? Yes or no? You can speak.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Margo?
Yes, sir.
Take them outside, tell the chef, serve them a little lunch, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
That's a
Please lead the way
guaranteed
you
good
can.
story,
Thank
but
you,
it
press.
won't.
Thanks, guys.
They'll only get worse. So go out of their way to make them worse. It was a hamburger. We have to make them worse.
Alex, thanks. Press.
Okay.
Thank you, press. Thank you,
You
press.
lead the way. Go outside on the porch.
Karen, they were so put off guard by what he did there.
That's hilarious.
That's never happened. Presidents never say, "Hey, media, you want lunch? Okay, we'll get you lunch." No, you can talk. Go ahead and talk. It was so funny to watch him.
Yeah, yes or no. Don't give a speech. Yes or no.
He said, "I love the part, Karen. I love the part where he said, oh, well, if you can have lunch, but you're going to do a bad story or a good story." He wasn't sure.
Yeah. Well, I think that speaks volumes. You know what one of Trump's greatest weapons is? And I call it a weapon on purpose. I just thought of it just now.
What's that?
His disarming honesty.
Oh, yeah.
They can't compete. They can't compete with that amount of disarming honesty. He said, if I offer you lunch, are you going to consider it a bribe? I mean, what politician says that?
Right.
Because it's the truth.
It is, and I think it's his New York honesty that I think got him the presidency. I think people, that's why they say, I can't understand. This is the big thing about the left. The left says, I cannot understand for the life of me how a billionaire can have these American people, these people we hate, relating to him. And he's relating to the American people. That's the big deal. He's just being real. That's all Americans want, is for the people that lead this country to be real. That's it.
Well, I want a little more than that, Ken. I want them to be real and honest, but I also want them to feel constrained by the principles of this brilliant Constitution.
Yeah. Well, I was referring to communication, but yeah.
And I know you agree with me on that. And then who understand that constraints on government is a good thing, not a bad thing. And that, in fact, their job is to serve the interests of the public instead of themselves, which has become legitimized today. It's like, oh, they all do it. Well, you're being intellectually dishonest if you say all of them do it, because there are some people who have the audacity to not conform with the crowd and say, you know what? I'm not going to take that bribe. I'm not going to try to enrich myself. But anyway, the honesty of Donald Trump, it is amazing. Even people who love and adore him feel like they have to apologize for loving and adoring him. Was that ever the case with presidents? Were you ever accused of being a cultist because you like Trump and you're not willing to apologize for it?
Oh yeah. I've never been willing to apologize for any of the things that I've decided to do. I mean, I can go all the way back to college when my first voter opportunity to vote for president was Ronald Reagan, and I was in college, and it was during the Iranian crisis, and he was coming into office that very day, and the Iranians had actually gotten on campus and did this big speech up on the stage, and we went up. My fraternity went up there, and we were yelling, and all this other stuff because we were angry at the Iranians, you know, and all we could say to him was, just you wait till he's in. He's almost in office, and sure enough, that very day they released the hostages that were there. But I've never had to apologize, and when people, I've actually on this show, Vic and I have actually called out people for saying, you know, I know there are a lot of things about Trump you may not like, but you know, and I'm like, well, why say that? Why do you have to preface everything with that? That's just not the way you have to do it.
Because they want to appease the haters, number one. It makes you sound circumspect, makes you sound fair. And I've had even Republicans accuse me of being a Trump cultist or something. I am a conservative because I believe in individual freedom and responsibility, and I've always been naturally a nonconformist. So if I like a president, it isn't because I want to be his slave or because I think he's God, but I don't recall the opposition being so successful in smearing, or as Vic would love to hear the word, besmirch Donald Trump's name and legacy because they hated him so much and knew that he stood as the greatest impediment to everything that they wanted to do, which is dismantle this country.
Whenever
he stood against that.
Whenever someone would say that to me, because early on, they would say, oh, you're just a cultist. And they would do it on social media. And immediately I would say, cultist. That's interesting that you say that, because during the 8 years of Obama, he was a demigod. I mean, there were women fainting in the audience, remember, during his candidacy?
Such a good point.
You know, but that's not, what's that?
What's projection they have?
Well, I think when they say cultist, Karen, I think when they say that, what they were trying to do is to do like the same exact thing that Islam would say, call you an Islamophobe. You're a cultist. You're an Islamophobe. To shut you up. It's to shut you down. They don't really care if you're a cultist. They don't even believe that. That's just something that they say to shut you up and to shut you down, which, by the way, never worked for me for whatever reason.
Well, that's why you're so cool. But I mean, it's so interesting. You made such a good point about the Obama years really was a cult. Somebody remarked when Obama got elected and they got into a taxi, the taxi driver says, Obama, Obama. I mean, a taxi driver.
Yeah.
You know, it was basically, it was the cult of personality.
Karen,
my
office. My mother-in-law, and I love her to death. I mean, my mother-in-law is one of my favorite people in the world. She's kind of left, wing. When I first experienced the Obama cult, I guess you would say, for lack of a better word, I came to her house for the first time after he was elected. And you remember that artistic rendition of Obama on those posters, the colored.
Yeah,
it was just the different. I think there were 3 basic colors, and it was a cool poster. She had one not only in the kitchen but on the cabinet. She put that thing, and I thought, wow, that's pretty intense. I never said a word about it. She never said a word about it. And I think she was actually waiting at one point for me to say something, but I never would, because you know why? Karen, everybody has their own opinion about things. And I'm not, I may say that you're wrong, but I never said to any person, God, you're such an evil person. You are an evil person. And by the way, you're also wrong. That's what they think about people who are MAGA, people who are conservative. It's not their ideas that are wrong. They are bad people.
And the psychology of creating this groupthink, I'm sorry to be a broken record, but that too is deliberate. Have you ever been to any communist country that did not create a cult of personality around its leader or leaders because it was the divine right of kings? And that's what they try to do here, which was out of character for America. I don't think we ever saw anything like it, where you had to like Obama, and if you didn't, because of his policies, you were a racist.
Oh yeah,
you're a racist,
big time.
I was gonna mention, I was listening to a news item during the break about how Hollywood performers are canceling their performances at the Kennedy Center because Trump put his name on the Kennedy Center. And here's a perfect example. I didn't particularly care for that. I figured I think somebody should do that after he's no longer with us.
Right.
Many
Yeah,
years
I didn't like it either. I
future.
didn't care. Yeah.
I don't like his Trump watches either. I don't know why he's selling Trump watches. I always wince whenever I see that. It's so unnecessary and small compared to the things he's doing. But he has disarming honesty, and he's not going to apologize for who he is. And what he has done and what he is doing is so much more enormous. But I saw a spam email, a spam meme that keeps pointing out that people are canceling their performances in New York City. And I saw one that I knew was a complete lie the minute I saw it, that Barbra Streisand canceled her concerts in New York City in protest of Mamdani. Now, number one, Barbra Streisand has major stage fright, and she hasn't given a concert in decades, right?
Right.
But she is unlikely to protest Mamdani, which if she had a brain in her head, she would.
Right.
Because she's in major danger like everybody else. But it drives me crazy that she wouldn't protest Mamdani and not give concerts there. But the Hollywood crowd of which she is a part are perfectly glad to show their faux outrage at the Kennedy Center with the name of Trump on it. Maybe that's why he's doing it, is to show what petty little brats and children they are. I don't know.
I love this song. This is Sonia Dada. Karen, have you ever heard of Sonia Dada?
No.
It's one of Vic and my favorite bands. We used to have them when we did the radio, the music radio station together for 14 years. This band was always coming in town to do shows for us, and they were just amazing. They're no longer a band, but they're just incredible.
Say it one more time for me.
Sonia Dada. It's SONIA DADA.
Oh, Sonia Dada. I'll look it up.
Yeah, you'll have to. You'll love their music. Just had to throw that in.
Oh, great. I will. Thank you. And before our final guest, I have to throw in that it's been a pleasure to be with you. We do have one more guest, but I just have to. We tease about Vic Porcelli because he's so fun to tease.
Oh, yeah.
But he is an immense talent. He's immensely talented.
He's a pretty amazing guy, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know him better than I do.
Yeah.
What's one amazing thing about him that we're not supposed to know, but we do know?
Right.
Yeah, lots of things. We have to go, right? Let's go.
Yeah. All right.
You're so mellow. You're not Jewish, are you?
I'm a Jew in training also.
Well, then you got to be more neurotic.
Oh, okay.
That's unfair to all Jews. We're going to talk to a Jew when we get back. Salvador Litvak. What a name, Salvador Litvak. We will talk to him when we get back on News Talk STL.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Vic. Yo, Vic.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Minnesota is in deep doo-doo for the rampant fraud in their social service programs. David Stokes of Show Me Institute will tell us what St. Louis needs to do to avoid ending up in the same situation.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but that when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that, the stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good, casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
You have the right to know. The right to know about culture. The right to know about the economy. The right to know about technology and to know about sports. You have the right to know about education and politics and the weather. You have the right to know what's happening abroad and in your backyard. But above all else, you have the right to know that this right is under attack, and we must work to protect it. Because in order to be free, we must be informed. Understand the threats. ProtectPressFreedom.org.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
This is Dr. Bonner Cohen. You are listening to Vic and Ken on News Talk STL. They're great.
Is that Tony the Tiger or is that the doctor? I don't know.
That was Dr. Bonner Cohen, but man, he sounds a lot like him, doesn't he?
Doesn't he though?
Oh, yeah.
That's great. He that bass baritone, maybe more of a bass. I love it. Well, thank you, Ken, for, I know, you get it done every single day on this program. I was delighted the first time I interviewed Salvador Litvak, and I was pleased to tell Vic about him. And I saw his movie, too. He's a director, producer, and humorist, director of the mystery thriller Guns N' Moses, now streaming on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and other platforms. He's also the book, Vic mentioned this, I love it. I love a good joke. We're going to have you tell a joke. Let My People Laugh, greatest Jewish jokes of all time. Salvador Litvak, how you doing? Good to have you on News Talk STL.
It's great to be with you.
Yeah.
Always can.
It's a happy secular,
you gotta stop meeting like
secular
this.
New Year. What?
I'm excited for a new year. It can only get better. I mean, the craziness that's going on in this country right now, the denial of it in the mainstream media, I've never seen anything like it. You know, the contrast between the headlines on CNN where nothing has happened in Minnesota, nothing to see here, folks, and everywhere else. It's crazy.
And it's getting through anyway. The mainstream, the propaganda media is not the final word, and it's getting through, and people know about it. And then they start questioning, why is the propaganda media ignoring these stories? Like, for example, the Brown shooting. There's obviously a mystery there, but we don't know what it is, and I think they want us to look away. There's nothing to see here. Don't look. We don't want to know.
Yeah, well, the guy's dead. He killed himself. That solves everything. That explains everything. I don't think it ever happened before that the same killer on Saturday acted like a jihadist mass murderer, and on Monday acted like a targeted assassin. Like, those two things don't go together. And yet they did here. No. And then a few days later, he kills himself in a storage facility in New Hampshire. End of story. Nothing to see here. Oh, man, what is going on?
What do we know about this guy? Anything? I mean, have you been following it? And I haven't seen as much, but what do we know about him so far? Have they been shutting it down?
I mean, I haven't seen any stories about that story, like, since he killed himself. It was like reported the next day, and then there's just nothing. I mean, there must be investigations going on, right? There's got to be. But wouldn't we just be getting the normal follow-up reports where even if the FBI is not releasing information, the journalists they would be finding out something about his past, his teaching career, his non-teaching career, something. There's just been nothing. I mean, it's one of the biggest stories of the year, and it's just radio silence. Why is that? Why
and the connection with Portugal, as I remember, there's a clear connection to Portugal, and they're saying that the professor in Portugal, whom they first announced was Jewish, and then they backed off of that, just the same as the misinformation, I must say, and would love your thoughts on, about the Muslim fellow in Australia who is credited with stopping some of these horrible murders, and then was said to have been a Coptic Christian, and there was a lot of misinformation there, but we never get the straight story. I'm not sure that that's everything, was hardly everything we need to know, but the vague confusion, I think, is what makes people most suspicious, is that people don't have a desire to know.
Exactly. And I mean, it is, it's part, I'm not making comments about Muslims, right? I'm talking about jihadists, okay? And there's hundreds of millions of them who are trying to spread political Islam all around the world. It is definitely part of the philosophy to do a few things. Number one, lie, and just, get the point across, get the power out there, take over countries by any means necessary. They're hysterically laughing that Europe just invited them in, millions and millions of them. But now over there in the
they were sent there. Yeah.
Well, very good.
They were sent there in the Arab Spring deliberately. So
yeah, and they never had to fire a shot. I mean, they were just welcomed in, taking over whole parts of cities. Now they're doing it in America. They've got a mayor in New York, but there in Bondi, right, it was a father and son who it appears now, I have been hearing some reports about this, that they were in the Philippines for a month, doing what? Probably training, some kind of terrorist training school. And, they went, they did the shooting. It was horrible. I mean, a couple rabbis, my rabbi knew the rabbi that was shot there. Just awful. 10-year-old girl.
Horrific. Horrific.
Horrific. Yes. And then they put out a fake Facebook page saying that the son was actually an Israeli named David Cohen. I mean, it's like laughable. What? It's ridiculous.
Really?
Oh, you haven't heard about this? Oh yeah, look it up.
No. I didn't.
They put up a fake. Yes, they put up a fake Facebook page saying that it's actually a guy named David Cohen, who's an Israeli. This was a whole, Mossad false flag operation, right, where Israelis are killing Jews on Hanukkah. It makes a lot of sense. But that's not going to stop the lefty loonies, Antifa, et cetera, and just everybody who's in the misinformation campaign from running with that kind of information. It's just part and parcel of taking over. They'll do it by any means necessary. I was seeing a video yesterday that what's going on in Minnesota, from their point of view, it's not just people enriching themselves committing fraud. It's part of the warfare. It's like getting all this kind of money. Where's that going? Where's that money going? Is it just people driving Cadillacs?
Well, we know some of it. We know some of it was used to enrich terrorists. We know that.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
the pilfering of the treasury in America to be used to hang us by our own petard is a real thing. It's a real thing. Yeah. It's not just for money. You make such an important point. I think that's what people are. I hope that they ask next. It doesn't stop with corruption because they're so greedy. It leads to a political agenda that involves conquest. Is that fair to say?
That's the point. That is the point. The funniest thing is, again, it's always the accusation confession, right? They called tiny little Israel that you could barely see on a map a colonizer. Meanwhile, they're at 50 countries and counting. They're clearly involved in a massive worldwide, multi-century, even multi-millennia, because they're patient, colonizing project of the world. And then they've also got it so well rigged that if we have a conversation like this, we are the racists, right? We are the racists. We are the Islamophobes. We are the ones who are going to be exposed and accused. Right now, I see stories running because people are saying this woman, the Democrat lawmaker in Minnesota, Melissa Hortman, right, who voted, who was the only Democrat that voted against state aid for illegal immigrants.
And something happened. That's right.
Suddenly was assassinated, right? Days later,
assassinated.
Right. She was terrified when she announced that she was voting her conscience. You could see it, like it was weird, okay, people do a vote that's tough, a vote against their party. They're taking a tough stand. They're not scared, right? They might be up against the challenge politically, but they're not terrified for their life the way she was when she made that speech. And then she was killed by some, political appointee of Tim Walz. And so now, if you talk about this, it's racist. I mean,
and voila,
we're living an upside down world.
That's what happens in banana republics and third world countries like Somalia, when you don't want someone to vote their conscience. What happens? They get killed.
Absolutely right.
Not an accident.
Have you seen the new state flag of Minnesota? I only heard about this today. I didn't know about this.
I have not.
They replaced the Minnesota state flag, right? And so the whole reason for it that was given was that the old Minnesota state flag, it had like a white person farming and a Native American riding a horse. You could see how offensive that is, right? So they had to do away with the old Minnesota state flag. And the new one has zero to do with the old one. It's just like a light blue field, a dark blue field, and a star. And it looks so much like the Somali national flag.
And if I can,
crazy.
If I can interject, Sal and Karen, I looked into this a little bit, Sal, and because I noticed that star had an 8 point to it, and the two major countries that have like 97 to 100% Islam countries, they have the same stars in their flags.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't know if it's coincidence or what, but it's there. It's there. It's for sure there.
Are there any coincidences these days? I don't want people to think that I'm shifting gears that are directly associated with this, but if they do, oh well. I wanted to ask you, because your film is so much about Jews defending themselves and celebrating that, celebrating the Second Amendment of that. And I encourage everybody to go see Guns N' Moses or get it on stream. I came across this organization, Sal, called Locks and Loaded. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah, great organization. I think they're based in the Chicago area and Ohio as well. And now they're opening chapters in lots of cities. I think they just got one together in New York City. And it's doing the same kind of work, similar work that the organization I belong to here in California, Magen Am, which means Shield of the Nation. And there's just, Jewish shooting clubs all over. I mean, it used to be that Jews who are, traditionally politically pretty liberal, and therefore you must be, for gun control. And that's shifting a lot because this is real danger. We're times of real danger. Attacks on Jews are, just climbing exponentially. We keep hearing about new attacks, and Jews are smart enough to say, okay, we got to defend ourselves. And something I say all the time, and we show it in the movie. The movie's a thriller. It's an edge of your seat thriller. It's not some kind of documentary. It's not a cause movie, but it does show a rabbi in a community that's under attack, getting himself armed and trained. And that's what I want to get at. If you want to defend your family, defend your community, and you buy a firearm, great. But if you just put it in a drawer, you haven't done anything. You have to train extensively to be able to use a firearm effectively, safely, and stop the bad guy. If God forbid you're ever in that situation, and you need muscle memory. You won't be able to think your way through it. You'll react. And if you haven't trained extensively, you could be a danger to yourself and the loved ones that you're trying to protect. And so it's funny that Hollywood has so many times shown somebody who doesn't know how to shoot, get a gun and learns how to shoot. But usually it's like 5 tin cans on a fence. He misses the first one, he hits the next 4, he's a dead shot. That's not the real world. So people in the, veterans, law enforcement community, everyone who trains and really uses firearms, when they see our movie, they're like, oh, wow, it's there. That's how you learn how to use a firearm. And it's actually on screen, and people appreciate that quite a bit.
I loved the fact that you gave a lot of time to that scene where the lead character and his wife are taking training together, and it was quite obvious that it was important, and you made it important. I wanted to get your thoughts, and I think we have enough time to. I'm sure you're familiar with a very old organization called JPFO, Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership. They were famous for having a poster on the wall with a picture of Hitler, may his name be erased, holding up his arm in a Nazi salute, and it said, all those for gun control, raise your hand. I don't know if you were familiar with that. They came up with, or they remembered something called hoplophobia, which is fear of guns. And I have a theory about Jews who have been afraid of guns and therefore very pro-gun control. Of course, we're pro guns in the hands of good people who know how to use them properly to defend themselves. And I think it's because a lot of Jews believed that they were on the other end of the barrel, and that's why they were afraid of them. And your movie does something different, and it helps people realize that they can be in control instead of victim. I just want to put that out.
Amen. That's why everybody's got guns and Moses. Guns and Moses.
Take care, everybody. Karen, we'll see you.
Take care. We'll see you. Bye.
Bye, Karen.
It's more than a rebellion. When your teen is slipping into drugs or alcohol, when social media and pornography consume their time and their mind, when depression and even suicidal thoughts cast a shadow over your home, as a parent, you feel powerless. There is hope. At Turnabout Ranch, troubled teens step away from the chaos and into a clarity of nature on a working cattle ranch. Care for horses, learn responsibility, build trust, and rediscover purpose. It isn't theory, it's real work, real therapy, real healing. Families from across the country have found transformation right here, just when they thought hope was gone. If your teen is struggling with addiction, harmful online behaviors, even weight management, call right now and get the help you all need.
800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. That's 800-219-2494.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Speaking to David Stokes, Director of Municipal Policy at the Show Me Institute, tell Chris and I about Waymo, these robo-taxis.
That is pretty obvious that these cars are much safer than human-driven cars. And much like I like horses, I like humans.
Dave, my God, man, they're killing cats.
I'm not an expert, but I do believe in the history of America that probably some human driving a car has also run over a cat.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. A severe winter storm continues barreling across the northern part of the U.S.
A wild